like to talk about luxury makeup and skincare. And today I will be trying on and reviewing the new Pat McGrath Bridgerton Diamonds of the First Water 6-pan palette. And so if you're interested, keep watching. Hi beauty fam, I finally have received my Pat McGrath Bridgerton collab. I ordered this like everybody on December 26th and I never received a notification, and it finally hit me. I never had a problem with Pat McGrath and their delivery or service, and it was this time that I got hit with what everyone has been complaining about. So it took a little bit of contacting customer service. I feel like they might have like even lost my order, and they apologized, and then probably a week later I got it. So everyone else got this palette probably 2 or 3 weeks before I did, and this is why this review is late, because Pat McGrath, their company, it took a longer time, and I don't think it has to do with anywhere where I live. I think I know other people live on the West Coast. I'm on the West Coast, Pacific Northwest, and they have gotten their palettes. So I don't know what's going on with their company. So just something to note, because I know by the time this video goes up that the Pat McGrath will have restocked this on their website. And also I think Sephora is going to, or has, and I'll put the links below if they're live. I know that Sephora will be selling this. So true to marketing form, you know, I did get sucked in because it's Pat McGrath and I'm usually going to buy any of her palettes. I only have returned one because it was so terrible. I think it was the Divine Rose. It was the pink one. It was a 6-pan. But this is marketed as being limited edition. And Bridgerton, hello, is anyone else excited about season 2? And let me know. I've actually read at least the second book, which of season 2 is based upon, and it is I'm embarrassed to say I read it. It's smutty and it's not raunchy. It's just Bridgerton in terms of like really clean romance. And I read it on vacation and I was really embarrassed. So it was terrible writing. If you're into that, you can go ahead. But either way, look at this gloriousness. And you've probably seen reviews, but I dressed up for y'all, you know, wearing blue. And I just love this packaging with the blue is the big theme of the family. I can't remember their name. Phoebe, I forget her name. Anyway, the main family of Bridgerton. And so blue is their theme, and they have diamonds and pearls, and it's a 6-pan. This is a collaboration between Pat McGrath and Netflix Shondaland, and Shonda Rhimes is a genius. So if y'all don't know and just aren't a TV buff, Shonda is the creator of such hits as Grey's Anatomy and Scandal, and So You Want to Get Away, or it's like You Want to Get Away with Murder with Viola Davis. It's a long name, but I've watched all of those, and it's just great series. And she created this Bridgerton series and Netflix kind of right around the start of the pandemic, and it was just hitting the spot of, you know, a lot of us were in the house and had nothing else to do, and it was just eye candy. It's nothing serious. It's completely just like the costuming is gorgeous. It's what it is. It's like a period piece, but what's different is that under Shonda Rhimes, her vision is that there are people of color back in the day. It's not just like white old British people. So it's like a reimagining of a time period with like the modern day diversity of today. So, and if you haven't seen Bridgerton, the season 1, Regency, you need to watch it. So I was of course going to get this. So enough about Bridgerton. I thought it might have been a face palette because I thought one of these could be used as a blush, and I'm going to do that today. I'm going to use one of these as a blush, and this is made in Italy with an 18-month shelf life. This is supposed to be limited edition. You might want to grab it for your collection. And so it comes in this case, and you know, I'm just living for this. I just love the blue. Blue is just this baby blue with the gold and the purple. Thank you. I just love it. And okay, so that's the back, and so it comes like this in this palette. So I think it opens up like this. Just want you to see some of the details on here. So Pat McGrath times Bridgerton. Okay, I'm hoping she's going to do more of these as the series continues. I love it. So there's a mirror and it says, it's probably backwards, but it says flawless, my dear. And a quote from the queen, who is a black woman. And the queen is played by a black woman, and she's looking for a love match for like the flawless girl or young woman of the season. And so it's kind of like this ritual that they're like combing like the rich people to find the prettiest girls for suitable for marriage. And she kind of rates the girls of young women of like flawless, my dear. So that's a quote from her. So this is iconic ingenue, sweep iconic ingenue over the brow bone and inner corner of the eyes to illuminate and accentuate. I also wonder if this could be used as a highlight. These shades here, what this says, this is Love Match. This is Art of the Swoon and Plum Regalia. And if you can see here, I'm going to flip it over this way. So bees play a large part in the series, particularly for season 2. So the last thing here, the Plum Regalia, is really beautiful. It reminds me of those, I don't know what they're called, the pendants where it would be the silhouette of people. Back before they had photography, they would draw the silhouette and then make a pendant out of it. This is Duchess Divinity. Emphasize the crease, lash line, or entire lid with Duchess Divinity, a universal shimmering metallic. I don't know if this is an Astral Blitz shade. It just might be, it's listed as, it says the Regency Blue, bold and jewel tones. I'm reading from the website. Adorn the lids or entire eye in Regency Blue. This iridescent astral can be used wet or dry, alone, or as a topper for your shadow. So if I'm being honest, I feel that I have a lot of these in these shadows up here and then here in my collection for Pat McGrath already. And I'm being honest that I likely bought this palette not only for that is limited edition in Bridgerton, but this shade alone. And I'm not mad about it and I'm not ashamed about it because I love a lot of, and most of all, Pat McGrath's creations, minus a few that I don't have anymore, but I'm always interested in what she's coming out. I am back and I did some swatches already. And I don't know if you can see them, and I might actually do them again just so we can go over the colors. But the inside of my hand is actually paler than the rest of my body. So this is what I would consider kind of like a medium deep or a light tan of the colors for Diamonds of the First Water. Iconic Ingenue, Art of the Swoon, Regency Blue, Plum Regalia, Duchess Divinity, Love Match. Okay, so you can see already that this is probably the special shade, the Regency Blue. It's definitely going to be a topper, one that you have to build up, and I'll probably use the Intensifies wand. This Art of the Swoon feels a bit dry. This would probably be good as a shimmer shade on the lid or a topper for a blush. This is probably, these two are the most creamiest, the Duchess Divinity and Love Match. This is the creamiest out of the palette. This is a matte Plum Regalia, and I would say Love Match here has a little bit of satin shimmer. Can you see that? And that sparkles probably some leftover from the swatch. So this is pretty light. I would say inner corner. This is the iconic Ingenue. For tan, medium, this might be okay as a highlighter or and definitely an inner corner highlighter brow bone. So those are the swatches. Going into Art of the Swoon, which is this one right here. Okay, that was super pigmented. I don't know if I even have a pink in this, in my Pat McGrath like this. So I actually really like this pink. That went on so easy. Love Match to deepen up the color is the Worker from the Lotus series into Love Match. This plummy color, which I'm loving. This is like one of my favorite colors, like a plum. I just think this is such a beautiful color. If you have a deeper skin tone, my skin tone and then deeper, it just is just a beautiful color. And it's super pigmented, which I love. Of course, I'm preaching in the choir if you're watching this already, that, you know, a lot of Pat McGrath's eyeshadows work for a lot of people of color because she is herself is an artist of color, a Black woman. And so I just never have to really like work to make her palettes work. They're just glorious in that they just are so inclusive to so many people's skin tones, and it defaults on people with deeper skin tones, I find, which I think is beautiful, instead of having to have creators, people who would create palettes to default on them being light, and then for light skinned people, and then have to like either not buy the product or just make it work for us. Okay, so I think that's enough. I'm going to stop there. Let's do this Plum Regalia. I'm taking my Sonia G mini booster in the corner. These are my colors. These are my jam. Just like the fuchsia hot pink and then the plum. I love it. Bring out my Intensify Swan. Just clicking on that. And then I'm running that over the lid. He's a big teddy bear. I think he wants food. I put the Intensifies Eyes Artistry Wand on because I think I'm just going to go into Regency Blue and just put that on my fingers. And I just drag it on. Just kind of pat it and pull a little bit. I find that's the best way to put on these shades, so there's not as much fallout. And because I have hooded eyelids, I like to bring it up a little bit past the fold so you can actually see the product. So keep your eyes open when you're doing your makeup. If you have hooded eyelids, it's like a hot tip, and actually bring the mirror up this way and open your eyes so you can see what it's going to look like. So there's some fallout, but I expect that with Pat McGrath. That's why I use the Intensifies Eyes. And I'm even dragging some of that blue this way, just so you get a little bit this way. There we go. Pretty. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take some of this no additional product and just kind of adding a little bit more for some contrast. That original color, which was this one here, just taking a little bit more just so there's like a gradation effect, and it kind of buffs out even that harshness of that bright fuchsia. Some of that go here. What I do is grab some of my airbrush and then Sicily again and just take some powder, right, and try to brush off as much as possible. Taking that pink shade again, this Art of the Swoon shade. And I try not to get these colors too close to my eye. Sometimes with Carmine, like pinks and purples, it can irritate your skin. Or eyes. I'm not saying that these will, but I know Carmine irritates some people's eyeballs. So just something to note, just try to not get that into your eyeball as much as possible. Two shades I haven't used is the Duchess Divinity, and then this one, Inner Corner Highlight. This is a Sonia G soft definer going into Duchess Divinity and running that along the bottom. Oh yeah, that's pretty. I think in another look, I would use that all over my lid. This is beautiful. Going into Iconic Ingenue Wayne Goss 05. I'm grabbing my Wayne Goss 053 brush, and I like to use this. I'm trying not to hit the glitter, just to buff in everything so it's more seamless. Okay, I am back and I am finished with the eye look, and here is what it looks like. And then I finished with liquid eyeliner from Surratt in Brown, Chanel waterproof long-lasting eyeliner in Purple Chocolate, and then lower lids MAC, and then upper mascara is the Pat McGrath Dark Star mascara, and then the details of these will be down listed below. I'm wondering if I can use the Iconic Ingenue as a highlighter. It seems a little bit too pigmented and a little bit, there's like texture on it, so I'm a little bit hesitant to use that as a highlighter. So I'm also grabbing my Lunar Nude, which is more of a gel consistency, which I get on along with better. It's pretty similar. It's a small pan. So the other thing about these, I'm sure you've seen other reviews, is that these pans are much smaller. I'm gonna pull this out because we're close to Lunar New Year. I have Golden Opulence, which is one of my favorite 6 pans of Pat McGrath. And it comes in this wonderful Lunar New Year red envelope. Just love this packaging. So you can see already, I'm pretty sure, yeah, the pan sizes are smaller, just ever so slightly. So that's something to note. I'm going in, I'm going to squish this around a little bit to see if I can get just some on my brush, and then I'm going to tap that on ever so slightly. It's barely showing up, so I'm wondering, you can see it though, right? I'm going to use that Love Match and dab that here. And then what I'm going to do is just shake it a little bit. Just actually going to do this. Okay, that's okay. Okay, taking Love Match and then just swishing it on back here because it's such a bright color. Okay, so that is showing up. You can see that. Beautiful. And I would say get a blush brush that diffuses a little bit, that's pretty soft. This is why I love this Soft Cheek so much. This is my favorite blush brush. It just doesn't pick up too much or too little, and it's just like the right amount. Do you see that? And because it's a brighter color, I'm putting it back here. And actually I'm just gonna kind of do some, what they call it, draping a little bit. Super pretty. Okay, and what I'm going to do then is take then that Art of the Swoon, because it's a lighter color, at least on my skin tone, to just put it in a little bit towards the front here. Ooh, it's a little bit shimmery. Okay, I'm not really liking that part, but I can tamp it down. Okay, so if I were to go back in time, I don't think I would use that in the front, so I would just probably stick to this one. Can you see it's a little bit too shimmery? And I don't like shimmer on this because it just shows too much of my texture. I'm gonna take a Sony G Detail Pro brush, and then I want to see how this Iconic Ingenue might act as a highlighter. Okay, it's okay. I mean, in a pinch, I don't think, I don't really like it as a highlighter, so I'm gonna grab my Lunar Nude Fenty Beauty highlight brush, and this is made just for highlights because it hugs this kind of cheekbone area. And then just go into that and tap it a little bit because it's a little bit too much, and then just sweep that here. Some here, a little bit here. That's okay because this is just gloss that I have on. A little bit of the highlight areas. Okay, again, this is the Lunar Nude from the holiday. It's part of the take my tried and true Hummingbird Blur Powder with BK Beauty 105 brush, this combo, and just buff out because there's too much. Well, you know, before I do that, I almost forgot. Take my Victoria Beckham bronzer, taking the contour shade on the right. Grabbing my Face Pro in the bronzer part of this pan. I almost feel like this bronzer brush is like too big for my face, but maybe this is a preference thing. The Hummingbird blurring powder, and then 105, BK 105, and just buffing in the product so it's a little bit more seamless. But also what's great about this is that it just tamps down any sort of product if you've over bronzed or over blushed or over highlighted, which that front area was too shimmery. So what I'm doing is tamping it down now to get rid of that shimmer so it doesn't show any texture. Then the final step, I'm taking the Pat McGrath Christie matte lipstick. The Blitz Gold, Pat McGrath, and I like this combo. Just actually, I don't like to get this dirty, and just putting this on my finger and just dabbing it. It's got this gold in it, but then it just tampers down everything. Okay, so the lips are super lush. So that is the final look with the Bridgerton palette, where I used all the colors for the eyeshadows, and then using a combination of Love Match and Art of the Swoon as blush. I tried to use Iconic Ingenue as a highlighter, but it was just too granular and it just added texture. So I ended up using the Lunar Nude and then Pat McGrath on my lips, and everything is down below. So let me do a quick review of this 6-pan palette for first impressions. I do think it's beautiful. I'm a fan of Pat McGrath, so of course I'm going to think it's great. Is this an I don't know if this is an everyday palette. I think for if you have conservative workplaces, this might not be the one palette you use. I think you could tone it down. Certainly, I think you could use one way to make it fun but more a little tone it down is that you could use this on the bottom lid and use pink and then this color here. But depending on what kind of work you have in your personality, this could be fine too. I think it's beautiful. I think, do I have anything in my collection like this? I think a lot of the Pat McGrath shades here are dupeable. See if there's any dupes for this Regency Blue. So let me dig into there. Celestial Odyssey, which was from last year. It's like a deeper blue. So just kind of going into that. It's a much crumblier, deeper blue. So not the same. And this is from the Interstellar Icon, which was this year. Going to dip into that. It's like more of a grungy blue. It's got actually some green in there. Okay, this is Subliminal 1 Mothership palette. It's the blue one. And it's the only blue shade is this Blitz Astral shade down here, and this kind of duochrome, multi-chrome. So I'll go ahead and swatch that, and that's like a deep, deep blue, like a regal blue. And then I'll go ahead and just do this one because it's like a Blitz Astral with a shift. So in a way, that Blitz Astral is kind of like the most similar. Okay, so I have some residual, so apologies on that. So this is the Regency Blue from the Bridgerton palette, Diamond of the First Water. Okay, and this is from Interstellar Icon, I think. So this is the newer shade that just came out this 2021, and this is 2020. And then this is from Subversive palette, which is a part of those actually gonna put it here. So it's almost got like a pink shift, where this is more of a blue shift. I would say it's the closest to the subliminal shade, and it's this shade up here that I would say it's the closest to that. And it looks really different, but there is a blue shift in that. Watch that. And I'll swatch that Regency Blue, which seems a little bit drier. Subliminal, Regency Blue. And I would say this is like not as pigmented even. This is crumblier, but the impact is more. I mean, these both have crazy fallout, mad fallout, but I do love this. I often open that palette just to dip into this color. I would say, like, if you have Subliminal 1, do you need this palette? And you have, I mean, Pat McGrath puts a lot of pinks in her palettes. Do you need this palette? No, but if you're a collector, you're probably going to get it. Also, some people don't like reaching for other things and outside palettes. So if that's a thing where you just want everything in one, I would say that, you know, you can dupe it if you have other Pat McGrath palettes. But again, I'm going to guess if you're a huge Pat McGrath fan, that most likely you're going to just want to get this. I think this is a dupeable palette. So is it a must? If you're not a collector, I would say it's a really nice one to get. It's really pretty in the packaging. Do you need it? No, but if you're attracted to this color story, I think you might not want to miss this. And if you have a lot of Pat McGrath already, like I do and other people, I don't know if it's an exact dupe, but if I was going to be real, like on the eyelids, you're not going to notice the difference. You really don't. I mean, some people are like, it's not the same when they swatch it. And it's like, I have nothing like this in my collection. I'm like, oh yeah, I bet you do if you have Pat McGrath. So on the eye, on the discerning eye on video, maybe you might be able to tell the difference, but I'm going to bet that you're not going to be able to tell the difference. Is it a need? I don't think so. None of these are really needs, but if you're a collector of Pat McGrath, I'm going to guess you're probably going to get it already. Or if you haven't, if you're on the fence about it, and you have a lot of eyeshadows, I would bet that you could probably dupe this. But if you're sucked into Bridgerton and the packaging and all of it, it's supposedly limited edition, so you never know with Pat McGrath. Once it's gone, it's gone, but then she ends up reissuing things. So it's available through Pat McGrath website. Last time I saw, you can get 10% off. I think Bridgerton 10 is the code, but some people do prefer using Sephora just because of the customer service. They find that to be better. And also it's faster with shipping and the return policy, all of that. It's a little bit more convenient and customer service oriented. So you might want to wait for Sephora, or you could also hedge your bets and see if it'll stick around for the Sephora sale. I wouldn't do that if you really want this palette. I bet it would sell out at Sephora is what I'm going to guess, because usually really coveted Pat McGrath products usually sell out pretty quick on Sephora. I think it's $65. It's kind of spendy. You might want to wait for a discount, or at least use Bridgerton 10 for 10% off. I think I used that discount. In terms of quality, I would say that it's not to the level of high quality as her mothership palettes, and that's what we've kind of been seeing Pat McGrath doing, is creating these smaller pans or smaller packages in cardboard to be a bit more accessible. They're definitely cheaper than the 125, so that way it's nice that it's a bit more accessible to more people. In terms of, if you're asking me in terms of quality, is it on par to her highest quality, which I consider like her Blitz Astral shades, the 4 special shades in the mothership palettes, and then the quality of the eyeshadows in the mothership palettes? It is not. It is made in Italy still, which I still find that the palettes that are made in Italy versus the US are still better. So you're still getting really high quality product, but it's not at the level of what we usually see with the 10-pan mothership palettes. Something to note, and I put these away, is that I found this shimmer shade to have a lot of fallout. So I was able to brush it away, which is nice. So I should have remembered this with Pat McGrath, that I actually tend to do my eyeshadow first and then do the rest of my makeup. But I'm also wear testing a foundation for a different video, which I'll link up below. Just know that this has a lot of fallout. These tend to be, this is in terms of quality, this is what I meant, that these seem a little bit drier than usual. So the creamiest one is this one here, which is Duchess Divinity. And this is more on par with what we expect with Pat McGrath, versus this just seems kind of dry, not really impactful, but still it's a great quality. This is probably the second creamiest. And then this is a matte. So I didn't have any problems with these. I think these are still high quality. I think Pat McGrath still, in my opinion, is like really some of the best eyeshadows on the market, even if it's not a Mothership 10 palette. I haven't done a like review, a comparison of battle of the eyeshadow companies, but I think if you're new to my channel, you probably don't know that I really think her eyeshadows are probably the best. They're probably my favorite. And then Viseart are my favorite. So, and they're just kind of different in terms of, I really believe Viseart has the best mattes, but overall packaging and experience, Pat McGrath products are an experience. So that's kind of what you're paying for in terms of this whole experience plus the quality. So that's why people just go wild about Pat McGrath releases, including me. So I have no regrets of getting this. I likely could have duped this, but I was not going to miss out on this palette, knowing that it's a limited edition Bridgerton, because I am a fan of that series. I love this packaging and I really love blues. If you can, like, I definitely have some staple colors in my wardrobe, in my collection of, I love pinks, I love purples, I love greens. Colors are definitely my jam. So I hope that was helpful, and that I definitely do think, you know, no surprise that this eyeshadow palette is tan person, brown person friendly. And I've never said this on YouTube before. The reason I say brown is that in different cultural contexts and in different countries, brown actually refers to maybe my skin tone, whereas in America it's deeper skin tones. So I know that there are viewers in other countries. So in the US context, I feel like I'm a tan, medium tan, but I would be considered brown skin in other countries, perhaps like in the UK or in Asia, where I consider myself a brown skinned Asian person of descent. So, but in America, tan skin. So just so you know, that's why I put that in my titles. So I definitely think it's tan skin, brown skin friendly. And if you're thinking about it, I would say pick it up. Part of it is marketing. She keeps saying it's limited edition, and then we buy it and think it's going to get, you know, sold out, and it doesn't. So it irks some people. The other thing you could do is hedge your bets and wait to see if it does not sell out, because at the mid and end of the year, what we've been seeing is that makeup companies have been doing a lot of sales. So towards the end of last year, I think most, if not all, of Pat McGrath products on her website were 30% off, which kind of irked a lot of us who were buying these products right when they were released, because we thought they were going to sell out, paying sometimes full price or maybe 10% at most off. So there were some of us who were upset that like towards the end, like the products we thought we were going to sell out were 30% off. So just something to note, like if you want to hedge your bets and you want this, but it's not in your budget now, or you just want to see if you can get it cheaper, you could try that. But again, there's no guarantee, because it could just be gone. I would say if you're really willing to take that chance, I would take your chance, because I think this might stick around. For my review, and if some of you are interested in what I have this headband, which I ended up getting from Amazon. So you can put that link below. And these are from a small POC Filipino owned company called Cambio, Filipino owned, and they work with people in the Philippines who this is their craft, and they work with sustainability. And this is part of the Visayan series, which is, if some of you don't know, there was a really horrible hurricane that hit the Visayan region, and it was terrible. And so a lot of people in community there are still trying to recover, and it didn't make the news for very long. So part of what they were doing at Cambio, the jewelry company, that if you purchased any of a certain collection, the Visayan collection, which work with people in the Visayan region to make these products, they would give 20% of what they earned back into revitalizing our community down there. So I'll put the link below, and these are very, very Filipino. We have a lot of these pearls, and then kind of like these inspired earrings with white flowers, which in Hawaii, they have the same plumerias, or sometimes they're called sambagitas. So I'll show those. I actually got another pair. I'll wear those in another video. But if you want to go ahead and support, I would encourage you to do so. And, you know, on my channel, I try to support as many POC, queer businesses as much as possible. Not always, because, you know, it's luxury beauty, so we know who those are owned by. But whenever I can, I try to do my small business dollars to POC queer owned small businesses that give back to our communities. So just want to encourage you to do the same. And that's it for my review. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to my channel, commenting below and liking. It really helps my channel out. And as always, please be very kind to yourself and others, and just be you. And I'll see you in the next video. Take good care. Bye.